Life in the zoo was not as exciting as on the outside, but it had its attractions. The daily menus catered for everyone's tastes. Some liked berries, others liked bananas. Some hungered for steak, others for fresh termites. The food just turned up every day, and nobody had to hunt or gather. The animals didn't even have to tidy up their own cages or make their beds with fresh straw. The keepers did all that for them. The keeper of the monkey's cage was called Mr. Hartley. He was a sweet man, and if the truth be told, a bit of a softy. Anything the monkeys screeched for, he provided, almost always. The chief monkey, whose name was Bozo, wanted a television so that he could watch Animal Planet. At first Mr. Hartley could not understand what he was squawking on about. But he saw that Bozo was pointing to the video screen that displayed important information for the visitors. He tried turning it off, but that agitated Bozo even more. Then he twigged what was in the monkey's mind, and he went out and bought the latest flat-panel TV and put it in the window of his office where Bozo and his followers could watch it. But such a life of luxury could not go on forever, and it didn't. After Theo's famous escape and his chocolate-crazed escapade, the zoo was noticed in high places. The local newspaper ran a headline that read, "Slack security at the zoo." And a local politician ran for election under the slogan, "Time to get tough on the animals." Pressure mounted for change. The head zookeeper lost his job. The new zoo boss was a man of a very different ilk. His name was Mr. Shingles, and he held old-fashioned views about how animals should be kept. He didn't believe in trendy modern zoology. He thought that pandering to animals' every demand just encouraged them to laze and loaf around. He knew that his views were out of step with modern thinking, and he felt bitter because he had risen slowly through the ranks of the zoo service. But now the town's mayor had recognized his talents. His day had come. On his first morning at work, he toured the zoo. When he came to the monkeys, he could hardly believe his eyes. "Who is the keeper of this cage?" "I am, sir," admitted Mr. Hartley. "Well, it's a disgrace," shouted Mr. Shingles. "Monkeys lounging around watching television in the middle of the morning. They'll turn into TV zombies. Take their goggle box immediately." And Mr. Hartley had no choice but to do as he was told. It didn't matter how much Bozo screeched now, Mr. Hartley did not dare to cater to his demands. Next, Mr. Shingles visited the part of the zoo called the Kingdom of the Great Apes. He was furious that the zoo's prize gorilla was too shy to come out and greet him. "What's the point of a hairy king who hides away?" he demanded to know. "Tell His Majesty that the visitors have paid good money to see his ugly face. And in future he had better show it." And as he continued on his tour, he had plenty more to note about the animals, and none of it was good. The lion was asleep. The koalas were hanging around in one big daze. The stick insects were all but invisible. The bears were hiding in their lairs. The penguins were pushing and shoving at feeding time. The hippos were letting off great gusts of wind, and the baboons were showing their bottoms to the visitors.